All right. Hello, everybody. So, as we turn our attention towards the persuasive essay, one of the important skills that I hope you can take away from this class is what we call digital literacy. And maybe you've heard this term sort of thrown around, or you're vaguely familiar with it, or just based on the combination of words, you have a sense of what digital literacy might be. So we're going to go into this a little bit more because it creates a foundation for how we find sources and what we do with sources once we find them. We're all pretty good at using Google to find answers to things. But just because we can use Google to find answers, it doesn't mean that those answers are the correct answers or the most reliable answers. So before we start talking about things like reliability, I just want to take a moment to talk about digital literacy in general. So, according to Forbes, which is a big, well known magazine and website, they say in the age where technology permeates or goes through every part of our lives, digital literacy has become as essential as traditional literacy. That is as important as being able to read at all. And they say it's not just about knowing how to use a computer or navigate the internet, something we all know how to do. It's about understanding and using digital tools and platforms that are integral or built into our modern workplaces. From handling data management systems to engaging with online communication tools, digital literacy enables professionals to operate efficiently and effectively in a digital centric environment. Now, you all know my sort of feelings about ChatGPT and other AI. That's a big part of this course as well. And a part of digital literacy. When we offload skills, critical thinking skills, search skills, all of those things to something else, we miss an opportunity to develop a very, very important skill. And digital literacy is one of the skills that I think is going to be increasingly important just because we're familiar. Most of you all are what we call digital natives. That means you've grown up with technology, with a phone, with a computer, with easy access to these things. So just because we're familiar with them doesn't mean that we know how to use them well. So according to the University of Potomac, digital literacy includes the ability to find, evaluate, create, and communicate information using different technologies. Now, again, I think we're very good at the first one, the finding, and maybe even pretty good about the creating part, but the evaluation and the using of that information is what I want to focus on, at least within this short video. Skills such as researching, creating content, collaborating on digital platforms, and adapting to technological changes are essential for navigating the digital world. As things change within the digital landscape, they tend to change very, very quickly. We see that with the rise of AI and large language models and things like that. 4 main principles guide digital literacy. Comprehension, that is, can we understand the digital content? A little bit more like our traditional literacy. Independence, so recognizing how various media forms are connected. Social factors such as age, education, and income that influence content perception. That is how we think of that as source. Everybody comes to a source with some sort of different lived experience. And we talked about this with the rhetorical analysis, that who we are as the reader influences how we interpret information. And then here, and curation, organizing and saving digital content according to preferences. I think that we're probably all aware that if you want to find information online that supports your beliefs, you can find that online. People can say, whatever they want on the internet. That is, I think, a good thing that we have that ability to free speech. But we also have to recognize and be careful about what it is we're reading, whether or not we trust it, whether or not it's reliable. And then the fourth one here, to develop digital literacy skills, experiment with digital tools, stay updated on technological advancements, focus on relevant platforms, and engage in lifelong learning through courses. So this is something that we can do. We can continue to learn how to be more digitally literate, how to evaluate things more, how to critically evaluate bias and things like that. Okay. So, as we think about this sort of introduction to what digital literacy is, and I'm not going to go into sort of putting these things in practice yet, but I want to give you an overview so that when we do talk about digital literacy, we're kind of on the same page, so to speak, right? Now, as we think about digital literacy, I think it's important to think about how this really applies to you. And this is a big part of the course, something that's very important to me, that the skills you're learning in English 101 are skills that you can transfer to another major, another academic field, or another career, or even to your personal life. So when I think about digital literacy and maybe why it's important, uh, a big part of that is thinking about, okay, in the professional world, how important are these skills? So the article that I found from Harvard lists the top 10 skills employers are looking for. And these sort of change periodically. You can probably find a different list somewhere else. But they said the number one skill that employers are looking for, number one is analytical thinking, which is a big part of digital literacy. What am I looking at? What is it doing? How does it connect to other things that I already know? Creative thinking, that is thinking outside the box, which, again, not to belabor the point, but when we're using AI to generate ideas, we're missing out on that ability to think creatively. Resilience, flexibility, and agility, motivation and self-awareness, curiosity and lifelong learning, again, which we saw is a part of digital literacy, that ability to be a lifelong learner, to continue to improve and learn new things. And then here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like the sixth one, we get technological literacy. Now, I don't think that that's quite the same as digital literacy here. I think it's just how literate are we with different types of technology, but we're getting, again, back to that digital literacy. AI and big data. That is, how do we use AI? How do we use it effectively? How do we use it ethically? Talent management, service orientation and customer service, and systems thinking. So even though digital literacy isn't directly on this list, I would say that almost all of these things are connected to digital literacy. So as we approach, especially the persuasive essay, what I want you to be thinking about is going beyond the easy step of Googling something and taking the first or second answer that comes up. When we think digitally, the digital literacy, it incorporates a host of things. That is, how we find something, how we search for something, how we interpret something, how we evaluate reliability bias, and all of those things. So really, as much as possible, I would encourage you, as we go into the persuasive essay, to be thinking about how you can develop and further leverage your digital literacy skills, because they are going to be increasingly important, and they are something that will help you out in the long term. All right, there you go. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, jokes, memes, or recipes, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later.